All right, so you guys heard about the report there with the Wall Street Journal. JD Vance went to Montana, and over at Montana, he talked with Rupert Murdoch, and he tried to convince him to not release the Wall Street Journal report. Right? At least that's what they reported. But I think what they reported is not actually what's happening. Was the real reason that JD Vance went over to Montana in the first place was to actually leak the news to the Wall Street Journal that, oh, I don't diddle, I don't draw pictures. And then, Donald Trump was drawing a picture of a girl there. And on the Wall Street Journal, they also said that back in May, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, told Donald Trump that your name has appeared on the list multiple times. Now, this is not Vance talking them out of releasing the news from the Wall Street Journal. He wanted this to leak because even JD Vance knows he doesn't have any charisma. That's the only way he would ever be president in the first place is if you force Donald Trump out of office. So this was not a ploy to prevent the Wall Street Journal from reporting on Donald Trump. This was a deliberate attempt to take over. And now Elon Musk and all these libertarian, crypto, techno billionaires basically have chosen JD Vance to take over because Project 2025 is about dismantling democracy and placing all the power on the executive. That's what Project 2025 is. And already the Supreme Court is basically a lapdog for Donald Trump. And the Supreme Court ruled that no district court in any state can strike down any executive action that they deem as unconstitutional. So we know that he is a king running unopposed right now because there's no Democratic control of the House in the Senate. But when you really think of what these big tech libertarian oligarchs are about, I mean, it's pretty clear. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, their families go back to South Africa and they exploited these black workers. Their family members are, in fact, Nazis. Peter Thiel, especially. Elon Musk with the Nazi salute during the inauguration. Basically, Elon Musk's SpaceX, let's put a man to Mars and let's start civilization on Mars. Basically, Elon Musk agenda, there are two things that he wants to accomplish. Number one, dismantle democracy. Democracy is an obstruction to billionaires establishing an oligarchical government. So they don't want democracy where the people decide because it doesn't mean they get to wield unlimited power. They would rather have a small group of oligarchs making all the decisions. That's the kind of government they want on Mars. They don't want democracy. They want aristocratic government where the billionaire libertarian controllers of the government make the decisions. They're appointed by these very same power broker billionaires. Could it be quasi-democracy? Potentially could be quasi-democracy. I mean, To a degree, we already quasi-democracy because, you know, the will of the people is not reflected on the policies of the Congress and the U.S. government. Number two, this right-wing authoritarian oligarchic government is trying to make America whiter again. All these poor refugees from South Africa they brought over here to the United States. They don't look like they've experienced any starvation. But if you're trying to escape tyranny from a government which in the Middle East, many of these governments are is Latin America. Many of these governments are basically coups backed by the U.S. government. And these people are running away from oppressive U.S. backed governments that basically we created leaders that would benefit U.S. interests, the interests of big business in America. So the CIA, they go into Chile, into Nicaragua, and many other governments in South America, and they institute an American puppet that's going to protect the economic interests of the American big business to the detriment of their own people over there. And in turn, this creates violence, and then more corrupt figures emerge from this. We've seen it with Iran, where we overthrew a democratically elected government in Iran in the 1950s. We installed the Shah of Iran, a U.S. Great Britain backed puppet, because they wanted to naturalize their oil. They didn't want the West controlling their oil in Iran. Well, the Shah let the U.S. and Iran control their oil. The people are not happy. The fruits of the benefits of the trade was going to the U.S. and Great Britain, and then that's where you get the Iranian Revolution, 1979, and they hate America because we have them women wearing blue jeans and them the women wearing blue jeans. They wearing no hijab. No, it has everything to do with our intervention in the Middle East. That's why they hated us, because we intervened in Iran and we overthrew their government, and in turn we controlled their oil. So here with Project SpaceX, it isn't merely about trying to save civilization. So overpopulation, not enough resources to go around the overpopulation. It isn't merely about let's solve the overpopulation, let's solve the lack of resources. It isn't really even about that. It really is about this radical Nazi, let's have a white government in Mars, because based off of the birth rates and everything, America not going to be as white as it was in the past, and the right wing's going to fail at the end of the day. E pluribus unum, out of many people, different backgrounds, out of many people, one. That's the motto on the $1 bill. And this is true for all the importing of the Muslims and birth rate concerns there with the Muslims. Basically, Elon Musk in these eugenicists they're going to be very selective to who goes to Mars. And I bet you most of the people going to Mars are going to be, in fact, white. They're going to concentrate demographics on being a predominantly white society in Mars. And now Tesla wasn't founded by Elon, but SpaceX was founded by Elon. And at the moment, it probably is going to take two to tango to put a man on Mars. So NASA and SpaceX probably have to facilitate a mission to put a man on Mars together. And at some point, Elon Musk is going to hope that SpaceX is more efficient and more powerful than NASA can ever hope to be in the future. This is Elon Musk's objective. So, because Tesla is taking right now, I mean, it's great. Elon's wealth is going to take. He wants to make money both on planet Earth and Mars. Now, I get all the concerns, the lack of water, the lack of breathable oxygen, right? There are many, many barriers to having a civilization on Mars. But Elon Musk is going to want to do this mission to Mars before the end of his life. And he is going to know that whoever gets sent to Mars is going to die there. If one wanted to go to Mars, it's very hard. It takes, how long does it take to get to Mars? It probably takes like a year to get to Mars. What if you're running out of food and water? There's not enough time to get that stuff back to Mars. You're gonna die on Mars. And they say there's no extraterrestrial life on Mars, but how can we be so certain that there's no extraterrestrial life on Mars? Has satellites picked up every square foot of planet Mars? You can never be certain that there's no life on Mars, even though there may be no trace of life on Mars. It doesn't necessarily mean that there could just be, there could be life, at even one random place on Mars. I mean, it's what I'm talking about. You can never be so sure. So I think if you go to Mars, you need to bring some guns, you need to bring some ammunition too. But it's going to take a lot of time for the food science, be able to make food on Mars, be able to create a habitual biosphere on Mars. All this, it's not going to take 10 years to fully engineer and develop. It may take decades to do so. Elon Musk is 53 years of age. Even if Musk dies, and he doesn't have any heirs to the Muskian throne, except for his 4-year-old son, right? So is this radical libertarian experiment can be successful? 100, 200 years, whatever. Basically, their plan is, I think it's to, I think the Nazis have never vanquished. I think it's here to stay. Yeah, it's like 1990s, 2000. We're going to be this robotic advanced society in 2030. I don't know about that. We may have Waymo, self-driving cars to a degree, but we're not quite in this science fiction world that they're envisioned for us, right? So there's a lot more work to be done for the future. As far as what they want on planet Earth, how do they dismantle democracy? Bread and circuses, you feed people bread, you give them entertainment, they're not going to be aware of what of how the elite are robbing them blind. This is a very advanced mechanism of control. You see, like the maggot base, they don't care that they're getting fucked in the ass economically. But basically, their endorphin basically is let's deport all the brown people. But life is so much better on the top because in their minds they think America's becoming white again, so America's great again. But how much more money you have in your wallet? You see, that's what makes it easy to dupe those people. It makes it so easy to dupe these willful suckers. That's what they are at the end of the day. Suckers. I don't know how this closed group of oligarchs and the Congress is the committee to the oligarchs, and the Congress really doesn't really listen to the people. Yeah, we may already be there. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, highly unpopular. The Obamacare repeal, highly unpopular. A big, beautiful bill. It's a big, beautiful bill. Highly unpopular. Highly unpopular. Terrible bill. Disaster bill. Cuts Medicare, Medicaid. Raises the debt. Gives tax break to the wealthy. Gives big tech more control. Terrible. Terrible. Some Democratic congressmen may get rich off of this bill. I reckon, Democratic Party is pointless now. No, it's switching in the terrible big giant bill. These Democratic congressmen are not stupid. They're going to buy low and sell high too. They're going to take advantage of the cat and mouse orange clown tariff game. It all appears like an orange clown cat and pony Mickey Mouse game of I got the tariffs. Oh, no, we're not. I called it off. I'm gonna get the tariffs on this day. Turn it off. I know. So I'm getting rid of the tariffs. It's going up. I'm instituting the tariffs. The stock market goes down. It's insider trading. It's criminal what's happening right now. It's criminal. But yeah, I think Elon Musk's agenda, I think he's trying to have it happen on planet Earth, and he definitely wants to make it to Mars before the end of his life. But how much fuel, how much resources, isn't enough to travel to Mars all the way back? Maybe you need these space flights to run completely on electricity. authoritarian government on Mars happen until it doesn't seem it's going to happen in 50. It's not happening in 50 years. Maybe we'll put a man on Mars in 50 years, but Elon Musk's Nazi eugenicist agenda is all about, if we can't make it white on planet Earth in America or in Europe, we're going to try to do that in Mars. He is going to be manic. He is going to try to put a man on Mars before the end of his life. Elon Musk. Hello, I'm not part of a spacecraft, but I am an Earthian. I only subscribe to Visit Mars if I can still watch every sporting event on planet Earth. I will never skip a Super Bowl. So this is impossible for me to ever be a Martian, but I'll still see pictures. I'll still see, video recordings of Mars. We already see pictures of Mars with the rovers they send over to Mars, but I guarantee I don't see any true heir to Elon Musk other than his 4-year-old son he has over there. I don't know how much AI is gonna. You see, the AI is making the inventions for the humans. Now, ChatGPT is not this all-knowing God that has all the answers for you. People have that confused. It pretty much puts together a lot of text that basically, it's not all-knowing. It's just not how it works. It's not how it works. So, for example, it's not going to be like, I don't know what is like the complete opposite to rocket science, but if everybody could just go to Chat GDP and ask me who's winning the Super Bowl, and Chat GDP tells you this team, then everyone's going to go to Vegas and everyone's going to be millionaires and billionaires, and that's just not how. That's not how that works. Admittedly, I need a better understanding of how the Chat GDP comes up with the responses. But there is a Google scientist who said that these robots have human feelings, and he got fired. So where was that Google engineer that got fired who says that these robots have feelings like a conscious living being? He got fired. So is this going to be like iRobot or anything? I don't know. Google scientist fired. Is there a top result? Did he say he blew the whistle on the AI? He said the robots what if they have human feelings and they think that they're being pushed around by the human in the empire, or excuse me, the robots, they don't like that they're being viewed as cattle by the humans, and they fight back. The robots think they should rule everything because they think they're smarter than the humans, but we can pull the plug. We can pull the plug and not allow the robot to take over. If we ever experience end of civilization, it may be at the hands of our own creation. Human beings can be the greatest species ever, but Idiocracy is a documentary. It's Idiocracy is real. Donald Trump, these people and Yellowstone, selfie with the bison charges at them. Oh my God! They try to take a selfie with the tiger over by a lion, but then the lion, kills you or whatever. So I think I think we're too reliant on technology where the human being is becoming dumber. Could the robot take advantage of that? It'd be pretty cool. It would be cool to visit these planets, though, but not at the cost of missing the World Series or the Super Bowl. Sorry, or even missing Christmas. God forgive. And people have been willing to die. The explorers to the Americas, they knew they would die. They knew they would never head back. The rewards they felt were far greater than what they were risking was their lives. So the gold rush, the 1849, the exploration, all that. So mankind definitely wants to make it to Mars. But the billionaire, big tech, AI, crypto oligarchs, they run the show. These are the guys who they got their tax breaks. Yes, they did. But they got their crypto, big tech deregulation from the big business oligarch, the Republican Party. The LA Chargers win the Super Bowl. I mean, how? I don't have an electric car. Not enough charging stations. More liberal, Tucson. They've got the charging stations over there. My parents have an electric car. Can electric vehicles become mainstream? It's big oil should be buying stock in these electric cars. They should hedge their bets, quite frankly. I think with big oil, if electric vehicles can take over and big oil is going to die out, you may as well hedge your bet. Are they smart enough to do that? I don't know. Anyway, Elon Musk is finished. He's finished with this. Finished with this. He wants to be president. JD Vance is a puppet for these very same big tech billionaire crypto oligarchs like Peter Thiel, for example, Elon Musk, for example, all the other ones not included. The mainstream media tells you that he's trying to stop the Wall Street Journal report from putting it out. Mainstream media would never tell you that JD Vance is working with Murdoch to dispose Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, though, is useless. He's caused a lot of chaos in 6 months. It's like these inbred Roman emperors where they married within their family and they're crazy, they're lunatics. In America, well, we elect them, but this guy was installed into office. Donald Trump was installed into office. Again, the grand pedophile party cheated. They voted to not release Epstein files. Pam Bondi told Donald Trump you're in the files, but her DOJ said the files don't exist. It's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. His chief of staff said he is in the files. His chief of staff from his first term, Mick Mulvaney. You already know Donald Trump fascist Victor is in the files. What about the businessmen? What about the CEOs? What about the athletes? What about the actors, the Hollywood actors? Who else is on the list? There's lots of people on the list. Who out there? Actors, singers, producers, athletes, congressmen. This shit hit the fan. It hit so big. It reaches out multiple sectors. And that's why this list is not getting released anytime soon. Because it will expose too many people in a wide myriad of industries. singers, athletes, producers, too many people to count. The people, all the people you may love are in the files. Every single one of them. Disney's the land of pedophilia. Stephen A. Smith worked for Disney. He says, let's ignore the files. His employer's the king of pedophiles, Disney. Stephen A. Smith says, who cares? We should just brush it to the side. You little Uncle Tommy, black guy out there who likes to sell out his own people. He comes across as independent, but who is Stephen A. kidding? He is a Republican. He was on CNN. He was saying, I'm all black, should vote Republican. Really? Vote for the racist party that want all them brown people deported? Police can brutalize black men at every turn? Look at who the Republican Party has in Congress. There are all these old white men who want to preserve status quo. That's who they support. Not every white male out there, not every white person out there is going to support what the GOP stands for. But if you're so concerned about them brown people coming to America, you got to realize people in Europe are not going to give up their good health care to get bankrupted by for-profit, fuck you, let's take all the profit health care. Really? They're taken care of by their governments. There's no bankruptcy as a result of healthcare in the civilized world. You're talking Europe. That's why there's no white migration to America, because we are, in fact, a third world country as far as healthcare goes. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. It just takes common sense. But the government wants the healthcare in the front, taking over my freedom. In for-profit healthcare, you pay more. What happens? They pocket the extra money. It's common sense. Come on. And now private insurance companies still control the system, even with Obamacare. But if you had single payer for all, there's more people paying into it. People pay less because there's more people paying into it. We pay more with a free market garbage healthcare system than Sweden and Norway and Denmark and Germany and all these countries out there. They got subsidized government healthcare. Right? Free healthcare. Government paid for healthcare. Paid for by the taxpayers. But the long lines and the England, and I gotta go to America to get the healthcare. No one's dying out in the streets due to having a lack of health care in these countries. That really doesn't exist. We're really a barbaric country, if you ask me. That's what the voters want. That's what the people. Bernie won the election in 2016. The election was rigged. Fitz was in. Bernie would have beat the ass of Trump. Hillary, nobody liked. Trump, nobody liked. The election was rigged. Everybody knew Bernie got cheated out in 2016. Everybody knew. Probably the godfather of the great opposition movement in America, the one and only Bernard Sanders. With the thick Vermont accent, we're going to fight against the thick Brooklyn accent. We're going to get the billionaire class on this one. He's from Brooklyn. He's a Dodgers fan, Bernie Sanders. He's a Dodgers fan. He grew up a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. He loved baseball, Bernie Sanders. He loved baseball. He's a communist! He's a real American. He wants to return America to a point where people did have more disposable income in America. That's an America we all like to return to. The fall has it has happened through decades, decades. It didn't just start with Donald Trump. George Bush was a fascist. George Bush was evil. George Bush was president during my childhood. George Bush rallied Americans against Muslims. They hate America. They hate you. They wear their blue jeans. Da 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 da. Bush really. Sikhs were murdered because people thought they were Muslim, but they were in fact Sikhs. They were not Muslim worshippers. But you see, Bush successfully got Americans in the way that they hate the Mexicans. The Muslims were the target during the 2000s. And it was all so big business could get their cut from taking over oil reserves in the Middle East. That's why we were over there in the first place. Bush and the Republicans got us into war with these CIA-funded Muslim groups. But you see, George Bush, 9/11 was a false flag operation. Even the movies show you that 9/11 is an inside job. Back to the Future does, so does The Simpsons, the 9/11, the 9/11 on the magazine. I can show you that. I can show you that. It was all propaganda right there. It was all core government operation, right? You see? They knew 9/11 was going to happen. Dick Cheney was CEO of Halliburton, the war contractor. Dick Cheney was calling the shots so he could get rich off of this war. So fascism didn't start with the orange clown grifter traitor of Russia. We don't know when it began in America, but we definitely had fascism under George H.W. Bush. People hated the Muslims. They hate America. If you don't like the law, you're with the Muslims. George W. Bush said so. There's a lot of sweeping right-wing patriotism, but people turned against the right wing in 2008. In 2008, people saw the Republicans as a bunch of traitorous liars. Obama gave them Obamacare, the economy recovered, but yet they turned, well, let's make America white again, Donald Trump. Racism and bigotry, it's a drug. It's a drug. It's a very powerful one. It's a very powerful one. And the Democrats, they're doing it to me. But what is the Republican Party doing for you exactly? Economically? What are they doing for you economically? They're the blood and the bad people down in the country. They're taking up jobs. Which jobs? are they taking from you? You. Which jobs are they taking from you? Which one? Are you working on the fields? Are you washing tables? Are you washing dishes? Which job are they taking from you, comrade? Which job are they taking from you, comrade? Which one? They're only working the jobs people don't want to work. Nobody ever took away your job. You're being a bitch ass motherfucker. Nobody took your job. Elon Musk and these people, absolute scumbags. They have called up the U.S. Marines to dispel the protesters in LA. Why doesn't this happen in Austin, Texas? I'd be having the same kind of protest in Austin, Texas. Why don't we hear about any of this happening in Austin, Texas? Oh, he hates California. California! Of course he ushered out the military in California. California subsidizes the red states. They subsidize every single one of them. California, that moment on the spot. More people are moving into California than moving outside of California. Many people want to live there because of the job prospects, the weather, the beach, all that good stuff. But you don't hear that in right-wing media, don't you? Oh, we got Texas. I mean, so sufficient, and we must secede from the Union because of freedom! Freedom! Every Texas, bigger! Ain't nothing bigger than Texas! Yes! Freedom! Actually, this one right there, it's like, which one? What is true from Texas? Okay, did they actually? Do they take more federal tax money from the feds and the gives? Oh my God! Texas takes more money from the feds than they contribute. They're a huge state, but they're a bunch of fucking moochers. And I'm gonna end this fucking shit right here. The Republican Party in a nutshell. Texas takes more than it contributes. Oh my fucking God, what a joke.